All right, you ready for the next one, AP?
Yes.
This next one's really going to blow your mind. Everyone ready? So his first argument actually has a false premise. It's false.
Predicted that the Romans would beat the Persians in their war, and that did happen. Now bear with me, okay? Because it also said that we would have iron come from...
Oh, hang on. Okay, he just went through that quickly. The Quran said that the Romans would defeat the Persians, and this is let's watch that again because it was quick.
That did happen. Now bear with me, okay? Because it also said that Islam would become the largest religion, and Islam is now the largest religion in the world. It also predicted that the Romans would beat the Persians in their war, and that did happen. Now,
okay, so that was his number two. The Quran predicted that the Romans would beat the Persians in their war, and that did happen. We've talked about this quite a bit in the past because this is like their go-to. This is their go-to prophecy. Whenever they're trying to show some sort of miraculous prophecy, this is their number one. This is their go-to prophecy. And guys, so think about this. You've got the Romans and the Persians. Now, the Romans, those are Christians. And the Persians, they're pagans. So the story goes, Muhammad and his followers heard about the Romans and Persians fighting, and Muhammad and his followers, they're rooting for the Romans, right? Because they're people of the book. They root for people of the book over... they root for monotheists over pagans, right? According to Islam. Mm-hmm. So they're rooting for the Romans, but the Persians win. And then supposedly Muhammad says, but the Romans will win within a few years. Guys, it's the Roman Empire. What are the odds if the Romans lose something? They may come back and actually win. In a later battle.
Oh, it's impossible.
I don't know. Pretty darn good, because that's what they did for centuries. So
it's impossible.
Basically a coin flip. Guys, think about this now, right? I say, I could claim to be a prophet right now, and I say, the Republicans just had a big victory in the elections, but the Democrats will eventually have a victory. And then as soon as someone wins a political race or something like that, a couple years from now, you see, this is the proof. That's what happens when you have two groups that are kind of comparable in strength and so on, so that they're going back and forth, so that they go back and forth repeatedly. And then you say, oh, this one won, but this one will too. This one will win later. Great. Yeah. It takes a prophet to know something like that, right? So I just want to point out, even if it was correct and the Quran said that this is going to happen, you're basically... I don't even want to call it a coin flip because it's not like 50-50 on whether the Romans are going to win a future battle. If I had to estimate the odds, I would say 90-some% chance that the Romans are going to come back and win some sort of battle over the Persians. So it wouldn't take a genius, but we've got more problems than that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and read the Quran. So it's the Quran. Aleph Lam Min. The Romans are vanquished in a near land, and they, after being vanquished, shall overcome. Within a few years, Allah's is the command before and after, and on that day the believers shall rejoice. Got that? So the Romans are vanquished. They lost against the Persians in battle in a near land, and they, after being vanquished, shall overcome. So they're going to come back. They're going to come back and get a victory. Everyone got that? So, couple problems here. Our little buddy, he says... how could the Quran have gotten this right? This must be supernatural. Okay, why are you assuming it's from God? Because we have passages like this. We have lots of passages like this about Muhammad. Check this out, guys. This is Sahih al-Bukhari, 5762. So we can ask our little friend here, our little revert friend, why he's contradicting his own prophet. Narrated Aisha. Some people asked Allah's messenger about the foretellers. These are guys who are predicting the future. Fortune tellers. They're telling people what's going to happen in the future. They're foretelling things. Some people asked Allah's messenger about the foretellers. He said, they are nothing. They said, oh, Allah's messenger, sometimes they tell us of a thing which turns out to be true. So Muhammad, it's not that they're making predictions and we can't test them. They're making predictions and sometimes they're telling us things that are happening and they turn out to be true. What do we do? Allah's messenger said, so he has to explain why these guys get their predictions about the future correctly. It says, Allah's messenger said, a jinn snatches that true word and pours it into the ear of his friend, the foreteller, as one puts something into a bottle. The foreteller then mixes that word with 100 lies. So think about what they're saying here. Muhammad, I know this guy. He just predicted the future and it came to pass. He got it right. What am I supposed to do with that? Muhammad says, don't worry at all about that. But Muhammad, it looks supernatural. Guy's getting it right. Yes, it is supernatural. It's because a jinn snuck. And guys, if you go to the longer passages about this, this is actually connected to the Quran. And sadly, our friend never addresses this when he's talking about the scientific miracles. But according to the Quran, stars are missiles that Allah uses to shoot demons. That's Surah 67:5, Surah 37, 6 through 10. But stars are missiles that Allah uses to shoot demons. The stars you see in the sky, those are missiles that Allah is waiting to hurl at demons. And what happens is, you've got Allah and he's got his council where he's planning and announcing his plans and so on. And the jinn will sneak up there and listen to what Allah's doing. And when Allah finds out about that, when Allah suddenly looks around and sees, because he doesn't know everything, when he looks around and sees, hey, there's a jinn over there listening to my plans, he or one of his angels grabs a star, hurls it at the jinn. And so when you see a shooting star going across the sky, it's because Allah or an angel hurled a star at a demon. A shooting star in the sky is actually a star that Allah threw at a demon. Now, this, from a scientific perspective, is complete nonsense. When you see a shooting star, it's not actually a star. It's a rock that hit the Earth's atmosphere and so on. So anyway, I'd like to hear our friend here explain how this is scientifically accurate. But here, so anyway, when a jinn sneaks in, he's trying to listen to Allah's plans so they can run and tell his little jinn buddies and tell the fortune tellers what's going to happen. So sometimes Allah catches him, he hurls a star at him, and that's when you see a shooting star. Sometimes they just get away, and what happens? They run and tell a fortune teller, a foreteller, hey, here's what's going to happen. I heard Allah's plan, so I'm telling you what's going to happen. And then the foreteller takes this information, shares it with people, adds his own teachings and stuff to it. So as you saw in the source, adds lies to it. And then people believe the lies because he accurately predicted what would happen. Did you catch that? He had actual supernatural information about the future, but he combined it with a bunch of lies. And so you're not supposed to believe the guy because he's taking something, even though he's accurate about that, he made an accurate prediction. He added a bunch of lies to it. Don't believe the guy. In other words, what's Muhammad saying? People who are predicting the future can have actually divine, supernatural knowledge about the future, and you still shouldn't believe them because they're combining it with a bunch of lies. Okay, so according to that principle, should we believe the Quran if it got this right? If the Quran accurately predicted the amazing thing that the Roman Empire would win a battle, should we believe in Islam because of that? Not according to Muhammad. I mean, yes, Muhammad would say we should believe in Islam, but not according to the principle. He's saying it doesn't matter if you predict the future accurately if it's combined with a bunch of lies. Guess what? Tons of lies. AP already went through one. Jews worship Ezra. That's a lie. It's false. So Islam is, even if this were an accurate prediction that no one could have known, there's no way to know about this. Even if that were true, you'd say Muhammad got this from a demon. That's what you would do. Because why? Because the revelations are filled with lies. That's just the bare principle. That's one problem. But there are more problems, ladies and gentlemen. There are more problems. More problems. The standard narrative about this has holes in it. What am I talking about here? Let's read two passages from Jami at-Tirmidhi. Ready for this? Let's talk about when Muhammad got this revelation, according to these two passages in Jami at-Tirmidhi. Narrated Abu Sa'id. On the day of the Battle of Badr, the Romans had a victory over the Persians. So the believers were pleased with that. Then the following was revealed. Aleph, Lam, Mim. The Romans have been defeated, up to his saying, the believers will rejoice. He said, so the believers were happy with the victory of the Romans over the Persians. Guys, read this carefully. When did Muhammad receive this revelation, according to Jami at-Tirmidhi 2935? After the Persians won against the Romans? Did Muhammad receive the revelation after the Persians defeated the Romans, and then he predicted that the Romans would come back and defeat the Persians? Is that what happened? What's it say? Narrated Abu Sa'id. On the day of the Battle of Badr, the Romans had a victory over the Persians. What is this? This is after the Romans won their victory. After the Romans came back and won, that's when Muhammad received his revelation saying, oh yeah, the Romans will make a comeback and defeat the Persians. Really, after, guys, just to be clear, this would be like me saying, I have received a revelation right now in 2025 while live streaming on March 22nd, 2025. I predict that the winner of the presidential race in 2024 will be Donald J. Trump. Yes, I believe it. I've received this revelation, ladies and gentlemen. This is saying Muhammad received the revelation after the Romans already won it. And then it's basically saying this is why the believers are happy. But always good to have another. Abu Sa'id narrated. It's another passage in Jami at-Tirmidhi. Abu Sa'id narrated, on the day of Badr, the Romans had a victory over the Persians. When does this amazing revelation come about? It's after the Romans had their victory over the Persians. So the believers were pleased with that. Then. What do you mean? What does then mean? It means after this. So the believers were pleased with that. Then the following was revealed. Aleph Lam Mim. The Romans had been defeated, up to this saying, the believers will rejoice with the help of Allah. He said, so the believers were happy with the victory of the Romans over the Persians. In these versions of the hadiths, it's just announcing that the believers are going to be happy because this is going to happen. It's going to happen. And it's just basically recapping what happened. And so what are we supposed to do here? You've got hadiths which say that Muhammad received this amazing prediction after it already happened. This guy just said it, and he says there's no way anyone can refute this. So again, guys, what do you have here? One, Muhammad himself says if someone accurately predicts the future, that does not mean you believe the guy, because he could actually be getting a revelation from something demonic and be adding lies to it. So you shouldn't believe someone if he accurately predicts the future. That's one. Two, what are you talking about? You're talking about like a coin flip. At worst, it's a coin flip on whether the Romans are going to come back and win a battle at some point in the future. I would say significantly better odds. The Romans are going to come back and win some sort of battle. And then you've got hadiths saying that Muhammad received this after it already happened, after it was all done, after it was all finished. The Romans had already made their comeback and defeated the Persians. And then Muhammad got it. And it's actually saying, hey, the believers are going to be happy. And they were happy. Is this amazing? Are we supposed to convert based on this?
Yes.
So that's his first two, guys. That's his first two arguments that he gave. This is what's supposed to blow our minds. This is the proof.
Why haven't you converted yet?
Is anyone here? Anyone here converted yet? Because you saw the proof. No one can refute it. He said so.
I can't deny this truth. I have to convert right now.